There's this great movie from Argentina called El Secreto de sus Ojos. And as is common in Argentina and lots of other parts of Latin America, the characters in the movie use el voseo. They speak to each other using vos instead of tú when they're talking in unfamiliar terms. Let's look at a quick scene from this movie. We're going to analyze it, look at the ways that they use vos instead of tú so that you can understand it a little bit better. Start to incorporate it into your own Spanish if it's relevant, if you are going to be living or traveling in a country where it's common, which happens to be lots of Latin America, not just Argentina or Uruguay like a lot of people might assume. But more on that in just a minute. Let's take a look at the clip itself.
Sentate vos un segundo. Sentate y relájate. ¿Sabes por qué no lo podemos encontrar, Benjamín? Porque somos dos boludos. Mira, 12 cartas, 31 folios, 5 trabajos. Y como decís vos, me sigo cagando la vida viniendo a tugurios como este. Más de una vez me dijiste, ¿por qué estás ahí, Pablo? ¿Qué haces ahí? ¿Y sabes por qué estoy, Benjamín? Porque me apasiona.
I've gotten to spend some time in countries where the voseo is very common, like Argentina, Uruguay, and Chile, although the way that it's used in Chile is pretty different from other countries where it's common. If you happen to be interested in that, let me know in the comments, and maybe I can make a video specifically on Chilean Spanish. It's also common, very standard in Paraguay, and it's really, really common, depending on where you are and who you're speaking with, in large parts of South America and a good portion of Central America. Basically, in any country you go to in Latin America, there's probably some group of people or in some region where it's used fairly commonly. By the way, if you like the way that I break things down in this video and in general, I think you would like my newsletter. It's called Saturday Spanish because every Saturday I send out one concrete tip, takes less than 5 minutes to read, and it helps you in one concrete aspect of your Spanish learning to help you learn more effectively and make the progress that you want. It's free to join, and you can just click the first link in the description box below to sign up. Let's take a closer look at how to actually use the voseo, a few rules that'll help you put it into practice. And I think you'll be happy to notice that in a lot of ways, it's a lot easier to use, a lot fewer irregularities than the tú form. The first thing to know is that the emphasis in vos always falls on the last syllable. So instead of sabes, we get sabes. Instead of haces, haces. Miras, miras, abres, abrís. So the emphasis always falls on the last syllable. And you'll notice that in that last one, abrís, it's the e in abres changed to an I, abrís. And that's because abrir is an IR verb, and you don't have to do any of the change that happens in the regular tú form. You just have to take off the R, add an S, and put the emphasis on that last sound.
¿Por qué estás ahí, Pablo? ¿Qué haces ahí? ¿Y sabes por qué estoy, Benjamín?
The second thing to know is that the stem changes when you're talking to somebody. Using vos, they disappear. So instead of puedes, tienes, dices, siéntate, we get podés, tenés, decís, sentate.
Sentate vos un segundo. Sentate y relájate. Y como decís vos,
Third thing to know is that when you're using the imperative, as in you're telling somebody what to do, all you have to do is chop off the R and put the emphasis on the last syllable. So instead of come, we get comer. Instead of mira, we get mira. Instead of abre, we get abrir.
mira, 12 cartas.
If the verb is reflexive, as in relajarse, sentarse, we keep that emphasis on the same sound, as in relaja, senta, and then we just add the te afterwards. Relajate, sentate.
Sentate y relájate.
Another nice feature of the voseo is that in the imperative, a lot of these irregularities that you might have come across disappear. So you may have seen that verbs like decir, salir, venir, when you're telling somebody to do those things, they're irregular. You have to say di, sal, ven. But in the vos form, they basically stay the same, and you just have to chop off the R. So we get deci, salí, vení. tener, hacer, and so on. By the way, if you're liking this video and you're finding it helpful, consider subscribing. It helps me stay motivated, tells me that you like the video, makes me want to keep making more videos just like this one. I try to put out one every week. So if you like this and you want to see more, click the subscribe button. The fourth thing to know about vos is that it replaces tú and ti, but it does not replace te, tú without the accent, or tuyo. So if I say para ti, or contigo, or María y tú, those in the voseo will change to para vos, con vos, and María y vos. However, if I'm using te or tú, the possessive one, or tuyo, those don't change at all. So if I say te voy a llamar, that te doesn't have to change to vos voy a llamar or anything like that. It just stays exactly the same. Same thing goes with tú, the possessive one. So ese es tu auto. That tu auto doesn't have to change to become vos auto or anything like that. Just stays ese es tu auto, and same exact thing with tuyo. El auto azul es tuyo. Tuyo stays the same. You don't need to replace it with any variation of vos.
Y como decís vos,
the last thing to know is that in the standard voseo, we don't have any changes outside of the present tense or the imperative tense when you're telling somebody what to do. So you don't really have to worry about it if you're talking about anything in the imperfect or the preterite or subjunctive or future, any of those other tenses in the standard voseo, it doesn't change. All right, let's rewatch the scene that we watched at the beginning of this video and see what you notice now that we've seen a little bit in more detail how to use vos, and then we're going to practice.
sentate vos un segundo. Sentate y relájate. ¿Sabes por qué no lo podemos encontrar, Benjamín? Porque somos dos boludos. Mira, 12 cartas, 31 folios, 5 trabajos. Y como decís vos, me sigo cagando la vida viniendo a tuburios como este. Más de una vez me dijiste, ¿por qué estás ahí, Pablo? ¿Qué haces ahí? ¿Y sabes por qué estoy, Benjamín? Porque me apasiona.
Let's practice. We're going to look at a few sentences. In each sentence, there will be one verb, not conjugated in brackets. Your job is to take that verb and turn it into the vos form. I'm going to pause after reading each one, give you a second to come up with what you think is the right way to say it. Vos saber dónde quedó mi celular. Vos sabés dónde quedó mi celular. No sé, querer que te llame. No sé, ¿querés que te llame? Sí, decirme si lo escuchar. Sí, decime si lo escuchas. Acá está, mirar. Acá está, mira. Don't worry if this didn't all click for you right away. Now that you have kind of a foundation in how to use this, the more you hear it in context, the more it's going to start clicking for you over time. If you want to keep working on your Spanish, check out this video next. I think you might find it helpful. And if you want even more, remember you can click the first link in the description below to go to my website and join my newsletter, Saturday Spanish, to get one concrete tip to improve your Spanish every Saturday. Thanks for watching.